I consider myself a world-class self-shooter, and because, excuse me, it's very bright, I'm going to wear my sunglasses, because I have travelled across incredibly remote parts of the world, and I've made television shows about that. In other words, I basically made a TV show that's been on major networks, but I have shot it all on my own. So I have set myself a task here in southern Arizona at the Pima Aerospace Museum. Amazing place. I've set myself a task to not only make a movie about my trip to Arizona, which includes here the museum, the expo in Flagstaff, and then a trip into the desert. I'm not only going to make a movie about that trip, I'm going to make a movie about how to make a movie on your own, completely on your own. I'm going to talk about camera techniques, equipment, how to be light, mobile, portable, how to capture great sound without somebody actually monitoring the sound, because that's very difficult to do when you're on your own. The discipline required when you're on your own, because when I do these trips, I have to keep reminding myself, it's not about the trip, it's about making a television program. And when you go out and you go on take on these tasks to make a program, your primary objective has to be the end result, which means when you walk into the edit suite, you've got wonderful material, enough for you to tell a fantastic story. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, making a film about making a film. This I have never done before. I'm going to give it a go. So I welcome you on my ride. I start this year's visit to Arizona here, near the town of Tucson. This is the David Monson Air Base. It's very close, and this is where old aircraft come to die. An enormous reclamation center where aircraft are stored or scrapped, or in this case at the Pima Aerospace Museum, kept on show. So I had to come walk quite far to get to these airplanes. It's very hot, so I had to be portable. I wasn't prepared to, just make my life absolutely miserable by lugging around the tripod that I normally use. Which is this baby. It's heavy. It's quite a thing to carry in my luggage. I have a strap that helps me carry it. I can actually carry it over my shoulder. It consists of a Manfrotto legs. I can't really show it to you very clearly in this confined space, but you can get an idea. It's a proper tripod with spreader. It's got a floor level spreader. Mid. I actually prefer the spreaders in the middle. They're a little bit easier to use. And I just pinched myself. Ouch. See, real live television. And a head. This head is a Shackler head. This cost about 4 times more than the legs cost. And I had tried different Manfrotto video heads, didn't like any of them, and decided one day, well, you know something, I must stop fiddling around with Mickey Mouse equipment. I must buy the best. And I bought it's called an FSB 6 Shackler head, and wonderful. But heavy. Now, if I'm doing a trip in a vehicle and I can put this in a vehicle and I can have access to it reasonably close to my vehicle, and a lot of the traveling that I do and a lot of the films that I do are vehicular based. So I will go, across a continent, across a desert or something, and I will take all my kit with me, and I'll be doing a lot of self-shooting, and I will take this baby. But you know something? If I now have to hike this baby up the top of a hill, or like in the David Monson Air Base, the museum, it was very, very hot, and this would have killed me. So I used a much, much lighter tripod. And yes, that tripod won't give me particularly good pans, it won't give me particularly good tilts like this will. Well, so be it. One has to compromise. This was shooting on my own. Too much weight, too much hassle to carry around with me all that way. So if you're going to choose one or the other, and you're shooting yourself and you're doing a lot of walking with your equipment, you need to think lightweight. So I've got a second tripod which is lightweight, and here it is here. What is the main difference between a still camera tripod and a video tripod? I'm going to tell you now. There is only one main difference, and that difference is absolutely critical. Okay, it's this bit here. It's the head. Okay, now, and it's not what you might think. You might be thinking, well, a video head has to do with smooth tilts or smooth pans, you know. Actually, that's not the critical difference, because some still tripods, I mean, this little tripod here will give me a reasonably good pan, won't give me a good tilt at all. But the main difference is the bit you need to be horizontal. You need to have the base absolutely horizontal to do a pan, because if you face the camera in one direction, okay, perfectly in one direction, it's a bit too high for you to see there, perfectly in one direction, and you level it off, if it's not a perfectly level, it'll be level in that plane, but the moment you move, it'll either tilt up or tilt down. It won't be a pan. You have to be able to level the base. That is why video tripods have what they call a bowl, because now you get the head 100% horizontal by moving it and tightening the bowl. The biggest single disadvantage with still camera tripods when using it for video is in order for me to get this level, and I can because there's a leveler there, but in order for me to get this level, I actually have to tighten and loosen each of the three legs until it's a pain. It's really difficult to do. It takes so much time. So that's why if you're going to shoot video, you really need some kind of bowl. With this particular tripod, I have now these are quite common. I can set it on the ground, and even if it's a bit off center, you know, it's not horizontal, off horizontal, I can take this and get it horizontal and lock it off. So with this, I'm able to set up a horizontal shot very quickly, but I can't pan. I cannot pan. Because of course, what's going to happen if I try and pan that? Can you see it doesn't stay horizontal. It only stays horizontal in the one plane. That's why we have bowls. Here's the tripod. I just put the legs down, and let's say the ground is uneven. Can you see now that this base here is at an angle? So an ordinary tripod would be sitting like that, and then I would have to change the top. But with this, I undo the bowl and put it straight. I've got a level on top here, and I get it straight like that. It's a bit fiddly. Tighten it. Okay, and now if I pan, that is horizontal all the way around. Doesn't matter where I go, that's going to remain horizontal all the way around, even though the ground is skew, even though this part of the tripod here is not level. This part is level. The point at which the rotation takes place has to be level, not this part. That's the difference, and that is what a bowl will do for you. That's why video tripods often have the double legs. That's only because the base is much larger, because it's larger to enable it to handle a bowl mount. With a lightweight one like this, there are a few on the market. I needed to buy this one quickly. I was in Arizona and I needed something quickly, and I bought this, and this is the best I could find. They didn't have anything else. You got to shop around. There are a few on the market, but they're not common. I don't know why they're not common. Why don't they make a small, very simple tripod with a leveling device here instead of there? Don't understand quite why they don't do this. Once that's level, then this doesn't matter.
Hope you understand that. It's a little bit, go and play with some tripods. If you don't quite understand why it needs to be leveled there and not there, what's the difference? Well, there is a significant difference, to be honest with you. Go and play with some tripods and you'll see exactly what I mean.
That aircraft there, Avro Shackleton, has a very special place in my heart. It's always a good idea when filming on your own to make it not seem as if you're on your own. I mean, ideally, your audience shouldn't realize that you're on your own in terms of filming. They should just be swept up with the story. Work quite hard to get your audience to forget all about the fact that you might be shooting it all on your own. For example, appear out of a background from left of frame or right of frame as if you're interested in everything that's around you and that the camera isn't there at all. Flown by only two air forces, the Royal Air Force and the South African Air Force. And the reason why I have a soft spot in my heart for the Shackleton is that in 2000 I made a documentary film. It was broadcast by Discovery Channel, and it was about a South African Air Force Shackleton that took off from Cape Town on its way to the UK to take part in the 1994 air show season, and it crashed. They had a failure of both right-hand engines within 10 minutes of each other. All 19 crew survived. They walked away, they were rescued, and they actually restored a second aircraft. That was the one in which I flew and used to make the documentary. There she is, Avro Shackleton. Shackleton was used as a maritime reconnaissance aircraft. It was also used, the big bulb in the nose here, by the Royal Air Force in the last part of its career up to 1991 as an early warning aircraft, flying above the battle zone and doing what other air forces were doing in fast jets. RAF was still doing it with propellers. The selection, variation of aircraft that have come here to die is extraordinary. That is the British naval aircraft called the Fairey Gannet. Again, with the big bulbous nose underneath, it was used for maritime reconnaissance. It's seen better days. The first jet combat in history took place between these two aircrafts. Russian built MiG-15 had a Rolls-Royce designed engine. Britain sold them the design, even though they were at war with them, and the F-86 Sabre. This aircraft is special to me too. I have a painting in my editing room by Robert Taylor and signed by Robert Stanford Tuck. And this is his aircraft. He was an ace in the Battle of Britain, shot down a lot of Germans. What strikes me is the resources and the waste, the amount of money spent on these machines of war. Anyway, amazing place, absolutely extraordinary. I made one mistake. I missed the tour bus that leaves at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I missed it. There's one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that actually takes one through the reclamation section where they actually break aeroplanes up, and there's a glimpse of it over there, so I'm going to take you over there now, and that'll be the conclusion of my trip to Davis Monson Air Base.